A very good afternoon to my co-commentator, David Bird from England. I hope David can hear me. Hope that listeners can hear me, if we have any. Confirmed that I'm getting through. I'm not so sure about David.
Well, I won't get through if I'm not actually saying anything, that's for sure.
Well, right. Okay, interesting match this. Blanchard against Kranyak. The great Bob Hamman South playing with the young gun Lall against Dwyer and Bathurst. This is segment 3 of 6 in the round of 16, 15 boards per set. And also a very good afternoon to Peter Lund from Denmark.
Good day, David and Roland, and good morning, USA.
This is a typical part score battle with both sides having to decide how high they should go in their black suit fit. The normal rule is to help guide you in these situations is to bid as high as your total number of trumps. So you see that although Hamman is facing a passed hand, he expects Lall to have 5 spades and he's got 4. So with 9 trumps between them, he's willing to go to the 3 spade level. And it's worked well. Not that he's bought the contract, but at least he's pushed the other side up 1 level.
Yes, and 4 clubs should make, losing 1 club, 1 diamond and a heart.
When you think back to what I just said, you may wonder what East-West are doing at the 4 level with only 8 clubs between them. But of course they have a double fit in diamonds and clubs. They could have made either suit trumps. Perhaps it's a bit surprising they didn't find the 5-4 diamond fit. So in that case, you're going to get more tricks than the total number of trumps would suggest.
You are a lawman, David.
Yes, very law-abiding as always, Peter. Please don't tell anyone to the contrary. I've managed to avoid capture so far.
You better be later today, third set today, when Larry Cohen will be commentating. Now, Peter, did you notice that they already fixed the square, you know, above the score? You know, now it's not as wide as it was yesterday, and it's also thinner.
Not on my screen.
Well, on mine it is.
Oh, it's a special favor for you, because it's absolutely the same size for me.
There's a new feature, by the way, in the Vugraph Theatre. If you click on the player names, one at a time, of course, you'll get a mini biography, or at least pictures of the players, which makes it a little more real, so to speak. We don't see any biographies today, but we did yesterday.
You see that Declarer has already lost 1 heart trick. He's going to have to lose 1 diamond trick with the king of diamonds offside. So all depends on him being able to pick up the club suit, the trump suit, for just 1 loser. So he'll aim to take 2 finesses, leading twice from the east hand.
Yes, and the point here is that they can't force him anymore with a spade because the jack of spades is high.
Yes, well that is a good point, isn't it? Because if Declarer didn't have the jack of spades, then when the first finesse lost, North would be able to force the dummy to ruff again, and that would bear the ace of clubs, and it would no longer be possible to pick up the king. Declarer would lose 2 tricks. In that case, East-West would be punished for playing in clubs rather than diamonds.
I just gave you the link to the pairings in the round of 16 with the scores after 30 boards. So we're getting 6 winners, and they will be joined by the 2 teams who have byes to the quarter-finals tomorrow. The nickel team and the Blanchard team.
Do all the once-beaten teams drop immediately into the B event and then try to become USA 2, the second team in the Bermuda Bowl? Is that how it works?
That's how it works, yes. It's a repechage, if you like. So it's a double elimination format. If you don't qualify for USA 1, then you get a second chance to qualify for USA 2.
You can see that the diamonds, it's better to play in diamonds because you could survive a 4-1 club break. If diamonds were trumps, you could discard one of the clubs from the east hand on the Queen of Hearts once the king had forced out the ace, and maybe still rough your 2 spade losers in the west hand.
Yes, now Declarer has arrived in a position where he needs to play diamonds first. Cannot afford to draw the last trump. Then he'll be forced with a spade. What happened here? Did he play diamond to the ace? How was he going to?
Yes, he played ace and another. Now he's having to rough the spade in that hand, and he can't get over to draw the trump, can he?
No.
No, he needed to finesse in diamond, up with the jack of clubs, and then have a return to the west hand on the diamond queen.
But if he had finesse, do you think Hamman would have ducked smoothly? We'll never know. It would have been interesting, wouldn't it?
Still, at this level, that was a pretty bad mistake because by playing ace and another diamond, his fate was fairly obvious, wasn't it? He knew that another spade would cause a problem, and the diamond finesse might have been right.
Yes, and he did apologize immediately, as we see. Our operator is Dana Berkowitz, the daughter of David Berkowitz, also playing in this event.
So whether that hand was misplayed or not, we can see how important it is to contest these part scores to the limit. If Hamman had not, on his 3 kings facing a passed hand, gone all the way up to the 3 level, he wouldn't have pushed them to 4 clubs. They'd have played in 3 clubs and could have afforded the slight error in the play.
Now here's an interesting gadget, the 2 hard bid. Now Norse could well still have 4 hearts, but most expert pairs nowadays have the agreement that you can use 2 hearts as an artificial force, and that partner is never allowed to jump to 4 hearts if he has 4 cards support. That's a good method, because you have to do.
Let's see if Hamman follow his own rule. If 3 no is an option, then bid it.
You have your usual delay, Peter.
Well, anyway, he can't bid it on Jack Doubleton in an unbid suit, surely. Let's see. Yeah, I'll be surprised if he does. maybe he can bid 3 hearts again as equivalent of 4th suit forcing. Some people play that if 2 hearts is used as an artificial force, then you can bid 3 hearts on a strong hand.
And as you
with
see,
2 suits, it wouldn't.
3-0 is a make, and 5 diamonds will be down 1 on a club lead, and the bidding here have almost begged opponent to lead a club against 5 diamonds.
Well, it seems to me that the key moment in the bidding was North's 3rd bid. He had the option of bidding 3 clubs, didn't he? He'd already bid his diamonds twice. He has got ace-9 to 4 in the 4th suit, and obviously he knows, as we all do, that 3-no trumps is often better than 5 diamonds, and there we are. You see, South has bid 3 hearts again. So in his system, he is allowed to use that as a waiting bid, still looking for 3-no trumps. Because if he had a 2-suiter in spades and hearts, he would have probably bid 3 hearts on the previous round. If you're playing normal bidding, that would be a splinter of green diamonds, but not if you're playing 2 hearts as artificial.
Right. It would have been easier if North had bid 2 clubs on his 2nd turn. I know that some tend to emphasize the 6 or 7 card suit, and ignore the side suit. It is a 2-suiter, and after 2 clubs it would be so much easier for Bob Hamman to end up in no trump.
Well, I wasn't suggesting he
Roland
should bid
and
clubs
Davey,
on the 2nd round.
you. I've been asked to another table.
Okay, cheerio.
Peter. We'll try to survive without Peter. It won't be easy, but we'll try.
I was going to say, I don't suggest that North should bid 2 clubs on the 2nd round with such a good 7-card suit. Bidding 2 diamonds is fine, but I think he should bid 3 clubs on the 3rd round.
Yes, and do you see the 3 hard bid now, David? Has caused some confusion in Lall's mind.
What, you say that because he's being slow with his 3-no trump bid, or has there been something in the written commentary?
Yeah, I'm referring to the break in tempo, and as we see, he didn't bid 3-no trump, so he wasn't quite sure. But that 4 clubs, well, that 4 club bid comes 1 round too late. I agree with David here. It would have been better to bid 3 clubs before.
Yes, I mean his 4 club bid now will be a Q bid, with assuming that diamonds are agreed.
And for those of you who... Sorry, David, go on.
I said the normal arrangement is, if you play 2 hearts as an artificial bid equivalent to 4th suit forcing, sometimes known as the Burke relay after Tim Burke, that is forcing to game. So of course, regardless of the exact nature of what 3 hearts means, that they might possibly have misunderstood, they are forced to game, so 4 diamonds is forcing.
Yes, I was just going to say that we have seen the written commentators write Hamman's rule a few times, and for those who are not familiar with Hamman's rule, is whenever 3-no trumps is an option, bid it. Aha! Wait a second, what's going on? Is it, well, it's 4-no trump pass 5 diamonds, isn't it? I thought that they were playing in 4 now. No. So the club lead is it's pinpointed here, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that Dwyer will lead the 4 of clubs.
I'm looking at it again. Is the club lead necessary? Because he can get 2 clubs away on the king-queen of spades if the ace goes in, but he doesn't have time to set up a third discard from the long trump hand, does he?
Must say he gets a hard lead, David. Well, you're probably right.
Then there's a club switch. So I mean, he's led it anyway. Well, that's a very good general rule that if your partners, if the opponents bid loads of suits and refuse to play in 3-no trumps, despite it being the world's most tempting contract, then you should lead the unbid suit. You know, you're normally leading from a king. You're worried they'll have ace and queen, but they're certainly not going to do that when they've refused to play in 3-no trumps. Mind you, I suppose it's fair to say that they haven't actually bid hearts either, because the heart bids were artificial, so they'd really only just bid diamonds and spades.
Now the closed room must have come up pretty late, because they are on 33, but we don't have any scores on 31 and 32 yet. So they have to be entered manually by the operator before we can get comparisons.
Now here's a tricky moment for West, isn't it? Because he has to take his ace of hearts now to go with the ace of spades and the king of clubs, and that may well not be so easy. We can tell it's not easy by the time he's taking. But if in fact there was only one black suit trick to come, his side might need 2 heart tricks, I think. I think that's right. So that's why he's thinking very carefully. Should he take his ace of hearts? We can see ace of hearts, ace of spades, king of clubs as the 3 defensive tricks that will beat the game. But it's not so easy when you're sitting in the west hand, is it? Sitting west. We're lucky to be getting some extra tableside comments from Dana here, telling us how West is agonizing which card to play, and he's moved 1 card out in front of his hand. That's the one he thinks he should play, but he's still not certain about it, and he's just checking again. Well defended. Yeah, well done. He assumed that he knew that North was relatively short in hearts and might possibly have led towards the king of hearts if he had a low singleton, say. Now the only problem is if Declare is allowed to throw his spade away on the king of hearts. So they need to take the 2 black winners now, or at any rate the spade now.
The Dwyer knows what's going on, so as long as Bathurst plays a black card, everything's fine, and they defended well.
Well, there was plenty of interest in that one, wasn't there? Right the way through from the bidding to the opening lead, although I'm not sure that it was needed. And then the defence by West, we couldn't really ask for any more interesting viewing on one hand there.
It was a good hand. So our first comparison now on board 33, until the operator enters results on boards 31 and 32.
I see so many players who will refuse to overcall 1-no trump on that east hand, making fatuous remarks such as, well, there's just no playing tricks there, and they pass. It's complete nonsense as I see it. Of course, if you've got 15 to 17 or whatever range you play, you overcall one no trump. I mean, it's a good descriptive entry into the auction and allows your partner to compete should he happen to have a fairly weak hand with a long suit, because he knows the nature of your hand exactly.
How do you like a double in the closed room, David?
Yes, I see. He made a take-out double. Well, I mean, I suppose it's possible on that shape. You know, there is a risk in bidding one no trump. I don't want to imply there isn't, and in fact, this might have possibly have worked badly for them if they had been stuck in one no trump double. Yes, that was a penalty double, and West redoubled to say he had an escape suit. East bid 2 clubs, waiting to hear of the escape suit, and now Hamman is not willing to defend in the red suit, so he shows his club support.
Yes, and we will likely have a swing here. These contracts are so much easier to play when you know where all the high cards are. Or at least 15 of the 17.
You see, I'm not really sure about this north-south bidding. 3 clubs looks, doesn't it, as if Hamman intends that as a limit bid, in which case North surely has no reason to bid on. He's got a pretty empty hand with only 3 clubs. But he did bid on, perhaps thinking 3 clubs was forcing, and now they're in 3 no trumps, and Hamman has such a massive hand with all those intermediates. Looks like they're going to be okay.
Indeed, the 10 of diamonds is a good card for a start. And Hamman knows that the club finesse will work. He also knows that the King of Hearts is offside. It's a question about the 2 red jacks. He doesn't know where they are.
Well, he's got 2 diamond tricks on the lead, hasn't he? So he can add in the major suit aces and 5 clubs. That'll be enough.
Yeah, we did explain the Hamman rule to the table, or at least to the listeners, but it is true that the text commentators did not yet, and Dana can't hear us, so she doesn't know that we already did.
At the other table on board 32, again they missed 3 no trumps, but they were allowed to make 5 diamonds. Normally you can see how the play went by clicking on the board in my results, but when I'm trying it at the moment it's not allowing me to see what the play was.
No, and there is an explanation for that, David. It's because boards 32 and 31 and 32 were not recorded, so the operator just entered the result, and when she does that, we don't get the play of the hand.
How lucky for the defenders at the other table. That must have screwed up in some way, and we'll never know which one of them to blame.
So Hamman in good shape here. Well, this contract is going to make with over tricks even, one would assume. Perhaps a couple.
Yes, actually, I'm just looking again at the bidding of this board at the other table. Roland mentioned that East preferred to take out double to 1 no trump, fearing that he might go for some number in 1 no trump. Probably that's not really standard to double, but I mean it's not a bad bid. South redoubled, and when West's 1 diamond ran back to him, he thought, well, I've already redoubled, so now I can afford to only bid 2 clubs. Well, that's a little bit of an understatement, isn't it? I mean, if he actually plays that 3 clubs would be forcing, I can see he might not want to do that. But I mean, look at those 4 10s, a 9, an 8 and a 7. That is just such a good hand, and he does have Queen 10x of diamonds, so I don't like his 2 club bid at all. Even if he makes a limit bid of 3 clubs, which I think Hammond did here, then the North hand may well pass, because he's got no intermediates and only 3 clubs. His hand has got nothing much to recommend it. But still, I don't really I think that South got his values across at the other table.
Well, I think you're right, David, when you said that Hammond's 3 clubs was invitational only, from his point of view, and that Lall maybe thought that it was forcing. That's why he bid on it, because as you said, I mean, Lall doesn't have extra values.
If there was a disagreement there, then I agree with Hammond. Why on earth, when you double, should you not be allowed to have a limit raise of your partner's suit? You know, what's he meant to do with the 10 counts and club support? He can't let them play in 2 diamonds, can he? So he's got no real alternative to bid 3 clubs on a hand like that. If he's got a forcing hand with clubs, he can invent a bid such as 3 diamonds, a Q bid.
Looks like Bathurst is going for the kill here when he passed over 1 heart, so-called trap pass, either a weak hand or a penalty of 1 heart. And here we have it. So converting his partner's take-out double by passing now.
You see that East is expected to reopen any time that he is reasonably short in hearts, if he's got 1 or 2 hearts, for example. By doubling, he doesn't show any extra values whatsoever. He's really expecting his partner to have a good hand, because Hammond's overcalled at the 1 level. North couldn't find a response, and everyone round the table knows that an immediate double by West would have been for takeout, a negative double. So it's part of the negative double method that the opener must reopen, however minimum he is, when he is short in hearts, because he can absolutely almost know that there's a stack of hearts in his partner's hand. If North had any heart support, he would have raised, wouldn't he?
Yes, and I'm asked, shouldn't North run when one heart is doubled? I don't think so. I mean, you have no reason to believe that you played better anywhere else, and you had to bid at a higher level. You had 2 trumps for partner. No reason to bid.
No, I mean, it's easy to ask that question when you see that they might have got off the hook in clubs, but you can't take any risks going higher and higher just in the hope that you've got a fit somewhere else. If you haven't, your partner's going to end up in 2 hearts, and that'll be another 300 away probably.
Yeah. Now, converting partners double to penalty by passing is questionable at the 1 level, not vulnerable, if you think you have a vulnerable game on. Because if you have, you need to get a 4 down for it to be profitable, and to get 800. And how often can you take a 1 level contract 4 down?
Yes, it's particularly important to think carefully before making a forcing pass when the overcall is at the 2 level, because then you cannot be absolutely certain that your partner's going to reopen. So I usually suggest that you should not make a forcing pass when you hold game values, because you can't be certain that your partner's going to double. He may just pass it out. So you just have to sort of head for 3 no trumps if you've got enough for game. The time to get a really good board is when you've got about 10 or 11 points and game is uncertain your way. And if you can pick up 300 or 500 or something even more than that, that's a really good time to defend. As Roland says, if you're picking up 500 and you could have made 630 or even 430 anyway, then that's not rich pickings.
No, but I was actually wrong, because North-South are vulnerable here against non-vulnerable opponents. So 500 is fine if you can make 400 something. Same happened in the other room, as we now see. One heart got doubled and went for 500. And the same looks like it's going to happen here.
Right, now the fact that the contract in the other room was 1 heart doubled is another good reason why you should not attempt some very dangerous rescue operation on the north hand, because you can expect that if you play in 1 heart double, they will at the other table, and it will probably be a flat board. The time when you may take a risk is if somehow you can judge that you're in a spot that they won't be in at the other table. So if you leave it, it's bound to be an awful board, and it doesn't really matter if you take a risk looking for somewhere better, because you'd be in trouble if you left it. That was far from being the case on this deal, as we've just seen. It was in fact exactly the same contract.
And now, David, what do you need to pull? Singles and heart and a 5-card suit of your own?
Well, even if you pull on that hand, it's not necessarily right, is it? Well, you don't know that you're going to be better off in your suit. I mean, you might consider it if it was at the same level. One thing you've got to be very careful of is climbing up a level, because then to escape for the same penalty you have to make a trick more, and to do better than the original contract you have to do 2 tricks, make 2 tricks more than your partner would have done. So rescuing is a very dangerous business.
Now here's the convention that Terence Rees described as the worst convention ever invented. Because Rees would say, if he had been alive, well, obviously you could never get 2 hearts if you open 1 heart. Sarcastically.
Everyone knows that actors are not allowed to refer to the Scottish play Macbeth by name, because it's very bad luck. Similarly, BBO commentators of any caliber at all, even those who are only sort of in the middle of the ranking list, will never mention this convention by name. If they do, they're almost certain to make a foolish mistake in analysis in the next 5 minutes.
Here's a good switch, obviously. Well done by Dwyer. Now the contract is bound to go 1 down. Now, what if you open a symbol 1 heart? Who would be declarer in 4 hearts? South will. Are they going to defeat the contract now? Maybe they are, but it's not obvious, because West may lead a club.
I forget if Roland mentioned it, but it may look a bit puzzling why North went as high as 4 hearts. he did it because, in fact, it was quite a good board for the unmentionable opening convention that begins with F. As North had a weakish hand with both majors, he could judge that there was probably, not certainly, but probably a good minor suit contract available for East-West. So his raise was preemptive, not really expecting to make it, and we can see it's going to go down, even though Hamman has an absolute whale of a hand for that convention. And
yeah, but I was just going to stop you here, David, because all eyes on Bathurst again, because he has to rise with the ace and exit a spade, otherwise he will get end played. Sorry, David.
No, that was a very good point to make, Roland. That's fine. You see what's happened. Diamonds have been eliminated, so West can't safely play the ace of diamonds. He's got no hearts to play. So as Roland says, if he doesn't go up with his ace of spades now, he'll have to win the bear ace on the next round, and then we'll have to give Hamman an extra trick with a diamond return, delivering a rough and slough, or a club allowing declarer to make the queen of clubs. That's known as an elimination play. You eliminate one or more suits, here just the diamonds and the trumps, and then throw a defender on lead at a time when he'll either have to give you an extra trick in one of the remaining suits, or give you a rough and slough.
Yes, and the end play would have worked if Bathurst had been dealt the singleton ace of spades.
The fact that West is thinking means that he's spotted the danger, and really, for a top-class player, it doesn't seem that he has much of a problem, does it? Because whether East has the king of spades or declarer has it, how can he lose by taking the ace of spades? As well as that, I'm not sure if I was paying attention to the early play, but it looks like East played the jack of clubs through at some stage, and that would mark South with the queen of clubs. So West can see the danger fairly clearly.
Well, the queen of clubs is exposed in the dummy, remember, David? North is declarer.
Ah, I see. Of course, North North's the declarer. What a very sound point. However, had South been the declarer, that's what the point I was trying to make, Roland, then declarer would have been able to work it out. Well defended.
Yes, well defended indeed, as long as he exits with a spade, but of course he will. Well done, and I like the pause, thinking about it, and doing the right thing. That's good bridge.
In situations when you're thinking of an elimination play and want to trap someone with a doubleton honor, it can be a good idea to play that suit early on before the defender may be awake. If you wait until after you've eliminated a trick or two and then play the key suit, then even quite sort of modest performers may be more likely to spot the danger and go in with their doubleton ace.
So a strong club here, coming for East-West, 16 plus. I believe the double shows 5 to 7. Not quite sure, but I think it does.
Well, not everyone would come in with a spade against a strong club. I mean, he is vulnerable and he hasn't got much of a hand. It's interesting that he has done, because he wants to attempt to disrupt their auction. Bidding one spade doesn't do much damage, but if his partner had spade support and could jump to 2 or 3, that might deprive them of space. So it shows how players are willing to take a slight risk against a strong club auction, which can work well if the other side doesn't come in, but is if you get preemption, you can lose out from the fact that you don't show your longer suit on the first round. So the double denied the values for a positive, which would be around 8 points, and therefore West's 2 hearts was non-forcing. He would have to bid 3 hearts to be forcing, or he could just show a good general hand of some sort by q-bidding 2 spades. But East had 3-card heart support and an ace, and what's more, he thought with his 4 spades partner might be short in spades, so it would be a good fit. Anyway, you look at it, East was worth a raise to 3, and now of course Bathurst has pretty easy 4th heart to bid. Mind you, they know they've got a spade loser, so if the diamonds weren't 3-3, they might have lost ace-king of diamonds and a diamond ruff. Still, the alternative game of 3 no trumps is no certainty on a club lead, so it looks like 4 hearts is an okay place to play.
I'm asked by a spectator, please comment on the lead, why a club? Well, Lall has a difficult lead. I mean, he has 3 kings to lead from. So he had to choose one of them. He didn't get spade support by partner, so it looks right to choose one of the minors. So he selected 4th best club rather than 3rd best diamond. You never know what's right or wrong.
Well, another good alternative is the jack of trumps. Occasionally leading a singleton jack of trumps can be expensive if dummy goes down with queen to 3 and you pick up partner's king. But I think I might have preferred to lead a trump. It's hard to say, isn't it, when you can see all 52 cards and you know that's safe. But leading away from kings when the opponents are in game is pretty risky, really.
Yes, I agree with you there. And if we had Tony Forrester in the North Seat, he would definitely have led the jack of hearts, because Mr. Forrester does not lead away from kings.
And he's not the only one. That rule applies to all his partners too, who on pain of death almost don't dare to lead away from a king. Even if it works, then Forrester is probably going to raise to his feet and the daggers will fly from his eyes across the table. He feels so strongly about it.
I'm told that Bob Hammond abhors the trump leads David, so Justin may be influenced by that.
Well, yes, that's right. But I mean, when you've got 2 unpleasant things and you've got to choose one of them, you just choose the least unpleasant. You can't avoid it, can you? If you've got 3 kings, you may have to lead a trump. I'm sure he would have done if he had 2 low trumps. It's just a singleton jack is a bit risky as well. When you're leading from king to 4, even if you find your partner with queen to 4, you may still give declarer an extra club trick, allowing him to throw a spade away from one hand or other. So you need to find partner with something pretty good when you lead from a king.
Now, Bathurst thinking whole hand here, which you should always do before you even play a card from the dummy. Of course, he knows that he's going to rise with the ace of clubs. But that's not the issue. How is he going to play the hand? Because there are other issues to consider. The diamond suit, spades. Remember, he doesn't have any more entries to the dummy unless the jack of hearts drops. So should he play a spade, a trick 2, taking the finesse right away? He knows that's dangerous because Hamman is marked with a singleton spade on the auction. Now this gives him an extra entry to dummy, but it's not of much use when you know a finesse is certain to fail. I don't think he can make the contract here. Heart 4-1 is not a good sign. They're going to tap him with clubs. Ace King of Diamonds not in one hand, in North's hand. So no real chance of declarer here.
No, if he had only 3 diamonds, then he might still think that he was facing the risk of losing 3 diamond tricks and 1 spade, but of course, say he had 6 hearts, he might then get a discard on the 10 of spades if he could cross over to dummy with that 9 of trumps and be able to throw 1 of his diamonds away, but here 1 discard is no use.
I don't think the King of Diamonds was best defense. I still think it will go down. It would have been better to let Hamman win the diamond in order to continue clubs and force declarer. That's what Hamman really wants when he has trump length.
Gosh, I wasn't following that. He went in with the King of Diamonds. Well, now he can force 1 diamond trick. He just needs to get a discard on the 10 of spades, doesn't he? Why shouldn't he? Oh, I see. He can't do that, of course. Yeah, because he can't draw trumps. Yeah.
You can't get there. No. There's only 1 down now.
Well, I don't know. I mean, why? Can you tell me why he went in with the King of Diamonds, Roland? Isn't it a simple second hand plays low example?
Yes, he must have had a reason. We don't know. But I agree with you. It looks strange. I can't see the urgency to go in with the King of Diamonds to continue the suit. Maybe he thinks declarer has 6 hearts. Forcing game won't help them.
I mean, one of the only times you might go in with the king when declarer leads towards a jack, if you think he had ace queen 1, and that if you don't go in, you'll get M-played on the 3rd round. But I mean, here you can't be M-played anyway because South has still got trumps. And it seems that you should play low whether your partner's got the queen or the ace of diamonds. But anyway, he's a very much better player than I am. What do I know?
This is good enough to defeat it, but it will only be 100.
You say that he maybe thought declarer might have 6 trumps, but if he had 6 trumps and 3 trumps, 3 diamonds to the queen, it would have given the contract away to go in with the King of Diamonds.
Yes. Very nice comments by Dana at the table. Dana Berkowitz. It's quite a clever move, one has to say. If he can get past the King of Spades, he can even make it. But so this was the best Bathurst could do here. Well, Dwyer thinking that he has pretty good hand here with hearts, and all of a sudden his hand fell to pieces. Aha.
Well,
here we have it. Well, he's gonna pass, but will Hamman pass? Here we have it, David. Isn't it interesting? I raised the question earlier, do you remember? About the singleton trump and a 5-card suit of your own with a weak hand?
Well, of course he won't risk you. No, he hasn't done. You're quite right. Can't afford to go up to the 2 level. I mean, well, your partner might have a doubleton or a singleton diamond, yeah. I mean, they're playing 5-card majors. If it was a diamond or a club, then he had a singleton in the suit, it would be more worrying. But rescuing when you have to go up a level is a very dodgy business. This is a much rarer situation where a protective double gets left in when a one-level bid goes round to west and he doubles. But east has exactly the sort of hand where you are very, very happy to defend. First of all, this time the opponents are vulnerable and you're not, and secondly, east by no means can be sure of making game his way, because he's got such a long heart suit, and that can't be established because he knows the suit's breaking badly. What on earth game can he expect to make their way? So even if he only were to pick up, say, 200, he'd be pretty happy that they'd done well on the board. And it may be more with such a good heart suit.
Yes, but not everyone agrees with you, with us, David. You see Barnett Schenkin here. He would have redoubled for rescue.
Yes, yeah, well, a lot more people redouble for rescue when they can see all 52 cards.
Yeah, I've also heard that before Barnett, if you are doubled at the one level, it's time to get out. I've heard that. Very dangerous here for Lall. Now he inserted the 9, and they have a good chance of taking 1100 now against the one-level contract. Another spade is fine. And then one more.
Bob Hamman is one of the oldest players playing at this level. He's won countless national championships, won world championships all over the place. If it was that obvious to make an SOS redouble, he would have discovered it by now. So I dare say it makes a good bidding problem, and people would all disagree, but you certainly can't say he's wrong to pass when a player of that experience, with sort of a whole house full of cups and world championship medals and so on, thinks it's better to pass. That's fine.
So best defense here is the 13 spade. Well done. Impeccable defense this is. I'm pretty sure that Lall could have done one trick better if he had gone up with a jack of spades rather than inserting the 9, but I can understand that he did play the 9. Now he is 4 down. He'll score 2 more trump tricks, and that's it.
As soon as dummy goes down in a situation like this, you realize you're in big trouble. You're vulnerable, 5-1 fit, probably can never get over to dummy. But of course, it's so important to make as many tricks as you can. If the bidding goes differently at the other table, well, you're going to lose a lot anyway. But if they just happen to be in one heart doubled at the other table, then going for 1100 against 800 is, what is it, about 7 or 8 imps away. So that's what Jeremy Flint used to call Operation Big Deal, when you must give it a little bit of extra effort when the potential reward for making an extra trick may be high, even if you're going to end up with what looks like a pretty awful board on your own scorecard.
On board 36, the defense also missed a trick in the other room, so 4 hearts went only 1 down. Well, you get your 2 trump tricks. I have a feeling that this is the same contract in the other room.
Well, I'm going to ask your opinion, Roland, of a sort of fairly minor ethical situation here. It goes 1 heart, pass, pass, double, pass. If you've got the world's most obvious pass, are you obliged to pass absolutely immediately and give away to South that you've got an absolute stack of hearts? Or obviously you can't sit there thinking for 5 to 10 seconds or something, but would it be considered normal so as not to give away any information to say think for 1, 2 or 3 seconds before? In other words, to bid at just the same tempo as you would whenever you were intending to pass it. What do you think?
The latter, David. I tend to bid in the same tempo, no matter what. So here I would pass just after maybe 2 or 3 seconds. I won't make a lightning fast pass, just, you know, a normal pass. Yes, I think it is wrong to think for longer than 2-3 seconds.
Oh yes, well everyone would agree that, yes. No, I mean I would have done the same as you, but I'm never really sure if anyone would think that even that was being a bit sharp when you had an obvious pass. But I don't think it is. You're not really obliged to give away. It's the same if your partner makes a limit bid and you're going to either go on or you're either going to pass. You don't. Say it goes 1 heart, 3 hearts, and you're playing that as a limit bid. If you've opened on a 10 count, you're not obliged to sort of pass absolutely immediately and maybe allow them to benefit from that in the defence. Yeah, you just make your bids in tempo.
Right, so here we have an overcall of a strong club again, which is questionable perhaps, because it doesn't take anything away from West. I believe the 2 clubs is a balanced 8 to 11 hand. I'm not quite sure, but that's what I think.
Three spades must be a fit bid, one would think, saying that he has got diamond support. That's quite a lot to bid, isn't it, on the hand? But it just shows you how aggressive Hamman and Lall will be against strong club auctions. And Hamman spent most of his life playing a system pretty similar to the blue club with Bobby Wolf, so he knows what the tactics are. And he's about, 45 years older than his partner, and will no doubt have told him early on in their partnership that that's what he thought was a good idea against strong club auctions.
Yes, and not only with Bobby Wolf, also with Paul Soloway. But, you know, have already been doubled in 1 heart twice, going for 500 and 1100 respectively. But I don't think that will affect them at all. They're too experienced for that. Hamman certainly is.
You can see that that 3 spade bid really made Dwyer have to guess, didn't it? Because he doesn't have a diamond stopper. He's got a spade stopper and no diamond stopper, so he has applied Hamman's rule there of saying that it looks a bit like 3 no trumps from his hand, but he had to guess because there might have been 4 hearts on with the spade ace on side. Wow, and I mean that was a bit of a risk. If 3 spades was a fit bid showing that North had got diamonds, then he could expect he might get a diamond lead. He hasn't, in fact, because Hamman has a spade honor to lead, so that's absolutely fine. So 3 spades did cause a problem, and looks like, did East make the right decision? In 4 hearts you might lose a spade, a diamond and a club. That looks okay.
Yes. But that's the point here, of course, for inexperienced players. If Lall follows small here, Dwyer must do the same. That's standard for experts, but you know, inexperienced players, they win the king, you know, just in case I'll never get it. But if you do, North-South have communications in spades to take tricks. If you had 9 tricks, it wouldn't have mattered, but even with one spade trick, you don't have enough tricks. 5 hearts, a spade is 6, and 2 clubs is 8. And you see it was routine for Dwyer to follow small here, hold up if you like, some call it duck.
It was also routine for North to not play his ace because he wants to retain the defensive communications. So it's not just a question of not putting the ace on, he must also give his partner a signal, and for most of us that would be to play a fairly high spade. But they must be playing reverse attitude signals, and that means that a low card encourages and a high card would discourage. So his 3 is the best spot card available to encourage a spade continuation. But it's pretty obvious to Hamman in that case that East has got either the ace or the king, and he's decided with a spade trick in the bag he'll now switch to diamonds. His partner might have had the queen of diamonds, I suppose.
So Declarer has 8 tricks now. He still needs a 9. And now he'll lead towards his king of spades himself, knowing that the ace is on side, which he can afford now that he got a diamond trick.
So they made that board interesting for us by coming in. It's a feature even of Imp Bridge that players are willing to contest a huge number of auctions even when they haven't got particularly good hands, and even when they're vulnerable. When it comes to match points, well, then they contest them even more strongly, because it's absolutely hopeless to just allow your opponents to make 2 or 3 bids and just play wherever they want without any competition.
So, part score level here.
North-South will be playing a 5-card major system. That means that if they open 1 heart or 1 spade, they promise at least 5 cards. So Hamman can't open a spade, he can't open a no trump because his hand isn't strong enough. So he has to open a 3-card 1 club. Now his partner has a slightly awkward bid. He may choose to bid, say, 1 no trump perhaps. Doesn't particularly, yes, he has bid 1 no trump. That would be pretty risky playing a weak no trump system, because partner might pass if he had, say, a 15 count, but they're playing a strong no trump, so they can afford to bid 1 no trump on a 10 count.
Yes. And the double of 1 no trump is a take-out double of clubs, the only suit bid. So that applies in direct seat after a 1 club opening, and also after a 1 no trump response in force seat.
Now North has at least the option of bidding 3 clubs. I mean, his partner might, it's possible that his partner might be 4-4-3-2 and have only a doublesome club, the way some pairs play. Other pairs prefer to open a diamond on 4-4-3-2 shape. But even if his partner might have a doublesome club, it's hopeless to allow, say, 2 diamonds to play, because you're worried that he may have a doubleton. You've got to think that a lot of the time he'll have 4 clubs, a lot of the time he'll have 3 clubs, and if he's got 2 clubs, well, that's just bad luck, but you can't afford to sell out to 2 diamonds anyway.
But for this pair, it will be 3+. They don't play 2+. Mostly played by pairs who play transfer responses to 1 club. Now in the hand where they were in 1 heart doubled here, going 4 down for 1100, South did go for the pull, and they're now in 2 diamonds doubled instead. But at least they have a fit there, 5-3 fit. So I don't think that will go for 1100. Looks like this is going one down. A club and a spade for the defence. Would have been better for North South to defend here, but you can't fault Lall for bidding 3 clubs. Quite normal. So strong no trump for North South. Lall seems to have upgraded here. Not sure why. It's only 110. Would you have upgraded, David, playing 15-17?
Well, I wouldn't, but I mean, people say that aces and kings are worth a bit more than the 1, 2, 3, 4 point count table suggests, and the 10 is in a 4-card suit. I mean, a lot of people think that the more you upgrade, the more it lets the world know what an absolutely superb dummy player you are. So it's a good way of showing off at the bridge table.
Yeah, you can
Not of course
argue that the 4 spades is on a finesse, but won't succeed here. Sorry, David, I interrupted.
No, I don't think I was going to say anything particularly brilliant. That's interesting, isn't it? That West he's contested with 2 spades now to say that he's got a takeout bid of 2 spades. And
I think
let's see what
Michaels shows hearts and a minor.
Oh, is that what it says? Gosh, I've never heard of that.
That's
yeah, I mean, that would be a never heard of it before. Yeah, very good. Oh well, that's a good method then. He could just have well, a double would have shown hearts, wouldn't it? So what's he meant to do? He would just pass if he had a 1-4-4 forehand and wait for 2 spades to come round and then double that, I suppose. Yeah.
Now that's interesting. Stopping in 3. It's a good decision. Let me have a look at the card again. Maybe I got the no trump range wrong. 1 second. No, I didn't. 1 no trump is 15-18. And you think that's some view by Hamman here, David? Just a bit unforcing 3 spades?
Apart from that, if it's 15-18, then I don't think you should be very free with upgrading 14 counts, because then your partner is having a huge possible range to guess with. I mean, it's a little bit risky to upgrade if you're playing 15-17. I don't know. I mean, the jacks are practically worthless, aren't they? So I expect. What do you think? The double showed three spades, did it?
Must have, yeah.
I mean,
well, now I'm told that the CC says good 14-17, but I did click on the Hamman convention card, and I got 15-18. Let me look again.
Well, that's a pretty wide range for an opening 1 no trump opening. It doesn't usually include an 18 count, and if it did, Hamman might have bid more. But even that jack of spades is not necessarily doing much work. So if partner had king to 3, so it's not as if you've got a typical 6 count. I mean, you just really got the spade suit and not much else.
My bad, actually. I looked in the wrong column. Defensive bidding. It is actually 14-17. Good 14-17, and that is a good 14. So, making here for 140, still playing board 37 in the other room, 2 diamonds doubled. One can understand that.
On a club lead, I mean, you need some sort of luck to make 3, don't you? You've got a club away plus the 2 red aces and a spade finesse to take, and you need a bit of luck in diamonds. Yeah, so, and it's not as if it's a vulnerable game, so I agree, it was a sort of a bit of a bidding problem, particularly the way it went when Hamman heard of spade support, but 3 spades seems about right. Perhaps. Yes, they're making the point in the tap-in commentary that if West hadn't come in with 2 spades, North would be playing the hand, and then something like a heart lead from the Queen would set up the King of Hearts for a club discard. The King of Clubs wouldn't be, well, that would in fact set up 3 quick tricks to go with the King of Trumps, yes, but as long as they didn't screw up and allow Declarer to throw the heart away on the 10 of clubs. Yeah, it would still go off game, yeah.
Borderline values here for East-West. Talking about 3-note trumps. It will make easily enough when diamonds come in for 6 tricks.
Normally players will go to game with 3 kings facing a strong no trump. I mean, the standard way of bidding would be to show the 5 spades with a transfer bid and then to bid 3 no trumps on the second round, or if your partner is not a very good dummy player, perhaps 2 no trumps.
Well, it looks like Bathurst just invited with 5 spades here, David. That's perhaps a little conservative, vulnerable. King 10, 9, 8, 7 spades, 3 kings, as you said.
Well, yeah. Think back to Hammond's hand, where I suggested that maybe all 4 of his jacks weren't worth anything. Bathurst, kings are always worth something. So East now, although he's only got a 15 count, he's got that absolutely fabulous diamond suit, so he's surely going to bid 3 no trumps.
Yes, on a Doubleton in partner's suit. It's also an asset, much better than too small, of course. I'm asked what the East-West no trump range is. Let me have a look, 1 second. Well, on the card it reads 14 to 16 and 15 to 17. So it must have something to do with position and vulnerability. So I'm not quite sure what 1 no trump is here. Whether it is 14-16 or 15-17. Many play 14-16 in first and second, and 15-17 in third and fourth.
Well, you might think that he would be tempted to add, say, a couple of points for that diamond suit and think that was too good for a 14 to 16 no trump.
Yes, it could be that that 1 no trump is always 15-17 vulnerable.
Having said that, if it was 15 to 17, we would expect West to do a bit more still.
It's very good that on the card you have 2 lines. One where you can write 14-16 and one where you can write 15-17. But perhaps you should also add in which circumstances you open 14-16 and in which 15-17. You can't see that on the card. Will you believe they're still playing 37 in the other room?
Well, they've been playing an hour and a half for 7 boards, so even in a trial, so I mean, you really would think there would be some sort of timekeeping going on. They never seem to be very strict on timekeeping in all the US events that I watch.
By the way, David, we've been kindly requested not to use the term trials here by Jan Martel. You don't know. she much prefers the United States Bridge Championships, USBC for short.
Unfortunately, it's about 4 times as long, or 6 times as long.
True. There are trials, sort of, because this event is to select the USA 1 and USA 2 teams for the Bermuda Bowl in Bali, Indonesia, in late September.
The teams are surely invited to play in this, aren't they?
No, they're not, actually, David. In theory, any member of the ACBO can sign up for this event. But it is pretty pricey. As I understand it, was something like $450 per session. We talked about that yesterday. They were kind of lucky because only 18 teams signed up. So they just had to eliminate 2 of those in a round robin on the first day.
Gosh, what's lucky about that? If I was charging $450 for something, I would want the biggest field possible.
Yes, but what you gain there, David, you may lose, you know, because you have to pay the hotel to be there for more days. So finally, result on 37 is in. It went for 800s, 2 diamonds doubles, and Kranyak gained 7 imps.
Yes, but you pointed out, didn't you, that the declarer in 1 heart could have played the spades differently, probably should have played the spades differently, and then he would have got out for 100. So it does show that rescuing when you have to go a level higher is not necessarily a good idea, even when you do manage to find some sort of fit. You've always got the chance when you're playing, say, in a 5-1 fit, that the declarer will be able to make some of his trumps by roughing. It was unusual that he went for such a big number playing at the 1 level. Ooh, anyway, it's...
Look what's happening here. Now he's about to go down. It was a clever move by Hamman to duck when declarer advanced the Queen of Spades. It gave him a losing option, which he has just taken. He simply played for diamonds to come in, and that he wouldn't have a certain entry to dummy to repeat the diamond finesse. Easy for us to see that the King of Hearts would have been an entry for him, even the King of Spades. But it has to be the King of Hearts, of course, because he has no more spades. So he went for the drop instead of Ace of Hearts on side. It was quite interesting and not obvious what to do. But could he have tried hearts first is the question. Well, not necessarily, because if the heart finesse had lost the North King as ace, a heart back wouldn't have been nice, would it? But then again, you can try diamonds after that, can't you? So perhaps he should have played a heart. What do you think, David?
Well, I don't know. When you said it before, I thought you might have been right that a heart... Oh, if a heart comes back, now he can still try the diamonds, yes. It's a question of if the king isn't falling and he tries diamonds, what chances has he got left? Nothing much. They're going to clear the clubs. Yes, I see.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I mean, these are top world-class players, so presumably, certainly I think the main point of the hand is that it's a wonderful duck by Hamman, because he saw that if he took the ace of spades, declarer would cross to the king and maybe take another diamond finesse. That's particularly good vision from him, because he would have to duck very smoothly, otherwise declarer still has the option of overtaking the queen with the king, and also Hammond could see the king of hearts was an entry too. So he must have been planning all this much earlier in the play, so that he knew that if the queen came he would duck smoothly. Very well done.
Oh yes, great defense indeed. I mean, that's a good hand for a column. But I still think the declarer should have combined his chances here, rather than, you know, just relying on diamonds to come in. He could try hearts first. It's a very instructive hand.
One point we haven't mentioned is that from declarer's point of view, he wasn't entirely certain that the king of diamonds was on side, because Hammond might have ducked with king third of diamonds as well. You know, if he takes the king of diamonds, the diamonds are set up, and with king third he can afford to duck, and now declarer will have to waste an entry to go over to finesse again, and that may well be to the benefit of the defence. So I suppose he was factoring that into his calculations.
Yes. So on to board 42, strong club, normal, natural overcall, natural game forcing 2 hearts by West.
And we note here that Lall did not raise the spades. He had 3 cards support, but he knows it's their style to come in very, very light. And it's not so attractive to raise on 3 low cards, because that increases the chance that your partner, if he ends up on lead, may see fit to lead the suit. Apart from that, the only values North has, ace jack 1 of hearts, are over the bid suit, so he's looking at not very much of a contribution towards Hammond's spade contract, or spade sacrifice conceivably, and an enormous amount of defence, a possible 2 tricks in hearts, and maybe Hammond will have the ace queen of spades sitting over the opener's king, who knows? Possible.
Now this contract should go down on a spade lead, unless Hammond chooses the queen, of course. But he did select a heart, and he did it because he didn't get a race. So it was unlikely that Lall had 3 cards support. But I still think the declarer has a major problem here. Isn't it good enough for Lall to win with the ace of hearts and switch to a spade now? I think so. Yes.
Yes, it's quite a good lead, isn't it? Because he knew that declarer was likely to rely on the diamond suit for a lot of tricks, and he had a stopper there. So if he can get partner on lead to lead 1 spade through, and they can clear the spades, when he gets in with the queen of diamonds he'll have some spades to take. But I think we can say, even so, that very few players would have diagnosed a heart lead, so that was clever stuff.
Yeah.
But actually, as the cards lie, I mean, looks like a spade lead would have worked too. So.
Yeah, and this is good enough, because Hammond has the diamond stopper. Even, well, yes.
You see that Lall gives count with his spade return. He would play the 8 through, perhaps from a doubleton, but he actually led the 2 to try and give a picture of the fact that he had 3 low cards there.
So declarer can't live without diamonds. So he's bound to go 1 down. course, Hamman has to be a little careful here. Can't throw a diamond, unless he does it quickly, of course. Can he afford to throw a heart, is the question, David?
Why not?
Well...
he knows his partner's got 3 hearts, doesn't he? So the 10 isn't much use.
Well... what do you want him to throw? You want him to throw 2 hearts?
Well, if there's any risk in it, he doesn't need to, as you say, because he only needs 1 diamond and 2 spades. But what risk are you foreseeing in throwing 2 hearts?
That I throw 2 hearts. Maybe there's an end play on south then, David? I mean, then you can take the Queen of Hearts. You see that?
Well, if he throws 2 hearts, he can play the Queen of Hearts, yes, and then throw him in with a spade to lead into the diamonds. I see, well, yes, because he's got to find one more discard on the Queen of Hearts.
And Hamman foresaw that, so he threw 2 winners, which he really had to do in order to defeat the country. Isn't that interesting? He set up his spades, but now he has to let them go, and that's the only way he can defeat the country. What a player. Can't make it now. Amazing defense, really. He struggles to set up your suit, and then you throw 2 winners away.
Well, it's a wonderful hand, and in retrospect he had all the data that was needed, but only an extremely good player would be able to work out what he should do as a result. It's one of the reasons I admire Hamman, because he is pretty old, and I notice myself, the older you get, the harder it is to concentrate for long periods of time, and for many players your game would just topple over the edge of a cliff and be nowhere near as good as you were at your peak. But I mean, that's really pretty good stuff, isn't it?
Yes, yes, I think we've been lucky. I mean, his defense against 3-note trump on the previous hand, and his defense here. And defense is very difficult.
Well, actually, there's one thing we've not mentioned, and that we're talking all the time about he would have been end-played or something, but that assumes he's got Queen to 3 diamonds. Declarer doesn't know where the Queen of Diamonds is, so he would still have been on a guess. It's right. So, I mean, Hamman could have thrown a diamond away and kept more spades. So it's not necessarily fatal to throw the hearts, is it? Only if Declarer reads the situation. But of course it still doesn't take anything away from the fact that it looks, as far as we can see, that his wonderful defense will beat it. However Declarer plays, because he's kept 2 hearts, so he'll always be able to exit with a heart. So what Declarer has to do now is to work out what on earth Hamman has got to have thrown these spades away. And I think he will come to the conclusion that he does have the Queen of Diamonds. He's not going to throw 2 spade winners away. Oh wow. Yeah, he's playing 1 diamond first, now a heart, yes.
Yes, well, trying to end play Hamman, if he had the Jack of Hearts. But if he had, he would have unblocked it on the previous round. Rest assured.
Well, if that is actually as we read it, that is a pretty great hand. And I can remind all the people watching that the records of all these deals go into the Vugraph depository. You can get at them via the internet just by doing a Google search on BBO Vugraph. And you can find there the records of so many championships, world championships, European championships, going down to whatever, the mixed pairs championship in some tiny country somewhere or other. Thousands of tournaments, and it's very, very rewarding to play through some of the hands. For example, I've made a note of a couple of hands, including that last one, and I'll be playing them through to see what went on, maybe entering them into deep finesse and see what we can learn, whether I can write up the hand somewhere. So you can learn an enormous amount by watching people play at this top level.
So the first slam of the set, I'm referring to 6 diamonds, of course. You see, Hamman didn't even jump to 2 spades on his second turn, although he is looking at a 3 looser hand. Now he jumped to 3 spades after the 2 club game forcing 4-suit convention, showing an enormous hand with 5-6. Well, I'm not. If 3-note trump is natural, don't you think it's a bit feeble, David?
Well, what are you suggesting instead? Because he doesn't have a fit for his partner's suits.
Well, he has. He has.
Oh, you mean he's got a diamond fit?
Diamonds. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he could say if South had a Doubleton club and he went ace king of clubs and another club through, that could promote a diamond trick for the Jack of Diamonds. He doesn't really know how good the diamonds are. I mean, if Hamman had rebid only 2 spades, seeing as 2 clubs was game forcing, then North might not be that impressed. The clue is, I think, that Hamman's bid 3 spades, so it's a question of North evaluating how good his hand is. Yeah, he may have a fund of tricks in hearts to throw. Yeah, in hearts to throw discards away, but he's got so many of his points in the other 2 suits, so I don't know how easy that was. What would you have bid anyway over 3 spades, Roland? What are you suggesting on the North cards? 4 diamonds?
4 diamonds, yeah.
Yeah, can he be sure that?
I don't think 5 diamonds is in jeopardy when my partner jumps to 3 spades, showing a very strong 6-5 hand.
Yes, although Hamman has a fantastic hand in terms of there not being very many losers there, he might also have had more points than that for bidding 3 spades, because players are very reluctant to make a jump rebid on the first round. A diamond, a heart, 2 spades is a commonplace among beginners who are worried about rebidding 1 spade on a 17 count. But I mean, in expert bridge, you know, that is a game forcing bid and very, very rarely made.
Yeah, he only has 15 actually, but he has a 3 loser hand, so 2 spades wouldn't be outrageous.
No, but I think South bid it well. It's maybe over 3-no trumps. Well, he can't bid again over 3-no trumps, can he, his partner? Oh, his partner had forced to game. Yes, his partner had bid 2 clubs forcing to game. Yeah, tricky.
Okay, was interesting. So a possible slam might be bid at the other table. Of course, we haven't seen the results yet on the 2 contracts that went down at this table. 3-no trump twice. Could be gains, both of them, for the Blanchard team. So I'm pretty sure that we'll see at least this match again when we come back. Next set is scheduled to start in about 30 minutes from now, 25 minutes past the hour. This is the penultimate board of the set. Well, clever lead. Low spade wouldn't have been so good. Now they can take 5 spade tricks and 4 diamond tricks. So North-South can make 3 no trumps. However, East is declarer.
Well, you can see that if, say, South had overcalled 1 spade on Ace, King, Jack to 5 spades, and the rest of his hand was spot cards, it might be a good idea to lead a low spade, because declarer, say, could win from Queen 10 to 4, and then if North got in later, he could lead another spade through, and then South could make 4 spade tricks to beat the contract. But when South has got an Ace, King, and a full 16 count on lead against 3 no trumps, it would be total nonsense to lead a low spade. And Hamman doesn't go in for total nonsense, so opening leads as often as many players do. So it was pretty obvious, really, to lead a top spade.
I like Justin Lall's comment there. Young whippersnappers, no respect. How often do we use whippersnappers? Well, I use it 4 times a day, of course.
Yeah, very good. Well, I'm getting a private message saying that isn't it normal to lead the King of Spades, King for count, which is a sort of universal method, certainly in the UK, and that asks partner to unblock an honour if he's got one, otherwise to give a count signal. And when dummy goes down with 3 spot cards and your partner plays a low card to show that he's got 3 too, that allows you to diagnose that the Queen is going to fall from declarer's hand. Well, there are 2 points to make in response to that. First of all, in the US, they don't tend to play Ace for attitude, King for count. As I see it, it's an excellent method and is absolutely undeniably the best method. That's my opinion. However, that's never been taught in American schools and bridge teachers and so on, and so they tend to not play it. They lead the ace instead. But apart from that, it's only going to be any use on this particular hand if you can switch and then put partner into lead through the Queen 1. And that's not likely to be the case when you've got a 16 count. So
last board of segment 3 now. 1 spade double, 2 hearts is a spade race. Sound spade race. 2 spades would have been weaker. You may argue, how can he be any weaker? Well, you can, certainly, because you like to bid 2 spades as often as possible, because it takes the 2 level away from North. And maybe you could tell us a little, David, now about Doubleton leads, because you know much about it after writing the books on leads.
Yes. Sorry, my phone's going. Okay, my wife's taken it. Well, yes, basically, we started off using computer simulation and wrote 1 book on no trump leads, and then we moved to write another one on winning leads against suit contracts. And we found actually that leads from things like kings and queens, aggressive leads from an honour, are really pretty bad. I mean, Roland's already mentioned that Tony Forrester doesn't like leads from kings. But even I spent sort of 40 years leading from King Jack to 4, which I thought was a great lead. I thought, if I find partner with the ace or the queen, I'll be fine. And after running these computer simulations, I found out not only was it not fine, it was the worst of the leads from the king, because you pay a price to lead away from the king, you pay another price to lead away from the jack. So leading from King Jack to 4 is a pretty awful lead. And in general, we were surprised to find that doubleton leads, particularly leads from too small, were very, very much better than anyone had thought. Lots of people think it's a beginner's lead to lead from a doubleton. But just think, when you're a declarer, if you've got a doubleton in your hand and maybe king-jack to 4 in the dunny, you lead the doubleton towards the king-jack to 4 in the hope of setting up some tricks. And that can work just as well in defence. Of course, you can't actually see that partner's got some honours there, but you can hope that he has, and by leading you at that doubleton 9 there, there's a fair chance that you're going to find partner with an honour. In this case, he's got the king, and you can promote it by leading towards it. That's part of good declarer play, isn't it? To lead towards honours, and that can work well in defence as well. Leading away from honours, leading away from king-jack to 4 instead of getting your jack can be a losing idea.
Right. Now I'm asked by a spectator, David. So this is a free advert for you. What is the name of the book on trump leads? Please ask David.
Well, you've dragged it out of me, Roland. Oh, you've twisted my arm. It's Winning Suit Contract Leads, and the other one was Winning No Trump Leads. It's an amazing couple of books, really, because the publisher thought they were too academic and that they wouldn't sell well, but it's turned out it's my best-selling books that I've written recently, so they've done much better than everyone thought they would.
So time for us to bow out and thank everyone. It's been a pleasure, as usual. Some of us will be back in about 25 minutes. Thank you, David. Thank you, listeners, and goodbye for now.
Yeah, wonderful set of boards. We were lucky, weren't we? Thanks for watching.